Dear friends, welcome to today's session. So in today's session, we will be understanding the Hello World Java, and we will actually find out what each and every term of that particular program, the simple Hello World program, means. Okay, so let us get started. So when we are writing the first Java program, so first of all, I'll write it for you, which is class Hello World, followed by opening braces, and within this we have the main method, which is public static void main, and within open bracket we have string argument s, and then we again open the body of this method where we are printing system dot out dot println hello world, and since it is a statement we will simply close it using a semicolon, and finally we will close the body of the class. So here we are declaring the class. Okay, so if I change the color, I think that would be easier for you all to remember. So here we will be declaring the class, and this is basically the body of the class where we can work. Okay, so when we are talking about the first term, that is the class, so class essentially is a keyword. Okay, and we have to remember that since Java is an object oriented programming, we will not be able to run our code without a class. Okay, so class has to be there. It is like a blueprint of an object, and that every program should begin with a class, and we have to put our code inside that particular class. And we also have to remember that in one Java program there can be just one single, so I'm writing it here, just one public class can be there in one Java program. Okay, so we need to be very careful while we are declaring the access modifiers of the class. Okay, so if we are not declaring any access modifier here, that means we are not mentioning it as public, private, protected or default. By default, I mean if there is no such declaration, then the class will be default. Okay, which is also known as package private, and it is only visible within its own package. Okay, so you will learn about this in our subsequent sessions. So here hello world is basically an identifier. So identifier, and this is basically the name of the class, or we can also call it as the user defined class name. Okay, so user defined class name, we can, whatever is the name of the program, we can give it according to that. Okay, however there are certain rules is that for these identifiers, that means if you are having two different words, there should be no space in between these two words, and first letter of each of the words should be capital letters. So this is basically the standard way of writing this identifier. Okay, and it should not only under, if we are using two words separated by a special character, then we can use either underscore or dollar sign, and we cannot begin the name of the identifier with any integer values. Okay, so these are certain rules, and eventually you will get to know more about it in our when we do some higher level programming. Okay, then coming to the body of this particular class. So body indicates the opening braces and the closing braces. So when we look at the first statement here, so here public is a keyword for the access modifier. Okay, so there are 4 different types of access modifiers, and they are public, private, protected and default. Okay, so and if we do not mention any modifier, then by default Java's access modifier is default. And we also have to understand that here we are dealing with the main method. So if we are dealing with the main method, the execution of the program will start from this point. Okay, so JVM can be installed anywhere in your system, that is either C or D or any other drive, and the JVM is responsible to call the main method, which may be in any other drive. And that is why in order to call this main method by JVM from anywhere, this main method should be declared as public. Okay, generally we do not declare with any other access modifiers. That means we do not keep it as private or protected, because suppose I have kept it in installed JVM in C drive and I have kept my program here in D drive, then in order to access for the JVM to access the program from D drive, this method needs to be public. Okay, this main method needs to be public. I think this is clear now. Okay, and static is a keyword, and at the time of execution, basically there is no object here. If there is no object, then by declaring the main method as static, it becomes class level method and not the object level method, so it can be called without an object. Okay, that is why it is kept as static. Okay, so we can keep this as a keyword. Okay, so generally what happens is that in order to access any method, we create certain objects, but here without an object itself, that means we do not need to instantiate it. Okay, so without the requirement for instantiation, that means without the need for creation of an object, this main method can be called, and that is why this keyword static is used. Now void is a return type. All right, and generally the main method's return type is kept void, because if we are returning any value, the main method will not be able to do anything with it, or it is not required by the main method for any type of execution. So hence this is kept as void. Okay, and main is basically the method name, and we have to understand that the execution of the program will start from the main method. Okay, and then we will come to the next subsequent section, which is string argument s. Okay, so talking about string here refers to a class. Okay, and args basically is an array, and it is used for command line arguments. We will see this with the program, so we don't have to worry about it as of now. So this is basically an array which is used to take values from the command line. Okay, then we will move to the next section, which is the body of the main method. Okay, so I'll take a separate ink for this. All right, let me take green. Okay, all right, so next we have the system.out.println. so basically this is a statement. Okay, this is a statement which will be helping us to print this particular string. All right, now system, this is a predefined class under java.lang package. Okay, so java.lang, so this is a class under java.lang, and out is a static variable of printstream class which is present in the system class. So this is basically a static variable, I'll write it here, a static variable under the printstream class of the system class. So static variable under printstream class of the system class. Okay, so this is it. And the last part, which is basically println. So println is a method of the printstream class. So this is a method. So we have already discussed about methods and classes and objects in our previous session, so please refer to it if you have any doubt. So println basically is a method under the printstream class. Okay, so printstream again is a class under your system class. Okay, so printstream class, and there are three different methods for printstream class to print on the console. The first one is a very simple state method, which is print followed by the bracket, and then we have println, which is responsible for printing in the new line, and the third one we have is the printf statement, printf method. Okay, so these are the three different methods which will be helping to print the string which is present within the bracket. Okay, essentially we have to understand that whatever string we need to print in the console, that should be within this particular inverted commas, and this entire statement will be ending with a semicolon followed by closing of the braces of the body. Now essentially if we look into this program, okay, so here if we make any changes to the various keywords or different types of class names which are available here, so if we make any changes to them, if we write capital C instead of small c or capital P instead of small p, then it will not work, or it might throw us an error. Okay, now however there are certain exceptions or certain changes we can make, which we can make to the existing program. Okay, so we will see what are they. So I'll write it in the next slide. So the first thing is, sorry for this, so I'll shift my ink to the black color so that it becomes easier. Okay, so the first one is that the order of the modifiers can be changed. Okay, order of modifiers in the main method, it can be changed. Okay, order of modifiers can be changed. If we talk about this, that means instead of public static void main, we can also write static public void main. Okay, so this can also be done. In the second one is that we can declare string argument s in any acceptable form. So declaration of string argument s in any acceptable form. Okay, acceptable form. So if you look into this, it might have something like string, then we'll write the brackets here, and then we write argument s. We can also write as string, then argument s. This is the space here. Okay, in between string and bracket there is a space. Then we can also write string argument s and followed by the bracket. So we have to understand that any of these forms can be acceptable in this scenario. All right, and however we will be sticking to this because it's a very commonly used representation. So the third change which we can make is that we can give any identifier name instead of argument s. So argument s, this identifier can be changed. Okay, it can be user defined. Name can be changed. All right, so this is the third important point. The fourth point is that We can use variable arguments, var arg, arg instead of string args, so that we will discuss in our subsequent session, because right now if I discuss all of them you might get confused. So we will keep it for our subsequent sessions. Okay. And we can also use one important point I would like to discuss here is that we can also use final as well as synchronized and strict fp with the main method. Okay, so these are some other keywords which we could be using this. So we will see all of their applicabilities later, but however, just for you all to remember, as of now we need to focus on these changes which could be made to the existing program. However, this program is self-sufficient in its own when we are talking about identifiers and keywords, but if you at all feel that no, you want to write your own representations, then definitely you can make certain changes to it in this particular forms. Okay, so this is how this is what the entire explanation of your first Java program would look like. We will be building up our concept based on these many factors which we have discussed in this very simple program. Okay, so in our next session we will be talking about we will look at some of the examples which will be using command line arguments, as well as we will also be talking about different types of variables, or we will be doing some programs based on certain variables. Okay, so thank you so much.